Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 18 of What If Naruto Was Neglected by Everyone. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Returned Different after his training trip. And over on Anime King 2, I posted a brand new episode of What If Aizuna Uchiha was Naruto's ancestor, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And later on, I'm going to be posting What If the 10 Tails was sealed inside of Naruto, so stay in tune for that as well guys, and I hope you enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, and remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their
So to do a bit of a recap from the last part we left off, Naruto was about to test Sasuke to see how strong he has gotten when Zetsu appeared. As Naruto then headed off without saying anything to Sasuke, as Naruto arrived, as he saw the body of Liz laying down on the ground, as standing there was Tsunade and Sakura. Before Naruto could do or say anything, a devastated punch was sent him flying away, as it was from Sakura, who started to beat the crap out of him as he was in so much rage, but Naruto took those hits like it was nothing. She was then sent flying away by a surge of his chakra, as Naruto's body quickly regenerated. With the Hoshirama cells on the fox, it was in seconds, as Naruto was crying to seal his body, but he wiped away the tears as Tsunade and Sakura attacked him, as Naruto went into the assault, as the three of them battle, two of them against him alone. As Sakura has gotten a lot stronger, she has been training the entire time, pushing herself intensely in the past 3 years just to get strong enough so she could beat him. As Tsunade thought they really had a chance, but after a while Tsunade realized that he was just toying with them, as Naruto revealed his Susanoo, knocking them back. As Tsunade tried to break it, but he reinforced it with his chakra, as Naruto then fly up in the air, as he brought his sword down on the village, as everything went boom. As Tsunade couldn't believe it, a lot of people, a lot of innocent died in that, but she saw the look in his eyes. He didn't hold one guilt of remorse. As Naruto then flew over towards Sakura and landed, as he came out of his Susanoo, he picked her up by the shirt, as he said Amaterasu, as the black flames consumed her face, as she screamed out in pain and agony. Tsunade tried to fight him, but he pinned her down, as he drove a sword right in her stomach, as he told her she has more to suffer, more to lose. He will not end it yet. Sakura lost everything, and she died in pain and agony, but she had Jiraiya left, and he was going to make her suffer even more. As Naruto the next day buried his body, as he headed to Konoha, as the family was quite shocked, as Minato was angry at Tsunade in the morning when they found her, as she was taken to the hospital. But for right now, they're gonna need her help. He's gonna need these strong ninjas because he knew Naruto will retaliate. As the family was quite shocked when Naruto suddenly appeared, as Minato asked him what did he do, how did he get here. As Naruto said one of his abilities allow him to control time, but he didn't explain anything further. As he asks, what are they gonna do about Tsunade's punishment? As Minato said that they need her right now because of him. As Naruto didn't show any expression that he was angry on his face, as he just vanished, doing that same technique again. Hours later, the Raikage was currently in his evacuation, as he knew sooner or later Naruto will come, and if he don't surrender peacefully, they will have to take him down by force. The Raikage was suddenly shocked as he saw a light appearing above his village, As the sunlight was gone, it was a white light reflecting down. He quickly went to his window as he saw the monstrous figures that Naruto always created, all of them surrounding the village. And wooden domes appear at the walls, at the gates, trapping everyone inside, forbidding them from leave. As Raikage quickly went outside, as he saw Naruto descended down to the ground like a vengeful god, came to attack. So yeah guys, that was basically the last part we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself, so let's start this new episode. The Raikage had two groups of envoys and a countless numbers of shinobi standing there. As he was waiting, the boy has come and he hasn't moved or said a word yet. As Raikage was quite surprised seeing Naruto use the Mokiton, as he thought that was lost to the first Hokage alone, but it seems this boy is capable of things that he didn't know of. As he looked up at all the Susanos, as he realized all of them had their sword aimed at his village, so he had to play this carefully right now. He looked towards one of his men. "Where is B?" he asks. "He's," as the envoy whisper, "underground in the secret bunker, as you stated." "Yes, keep him there for now. We know that the Akatsuki are after the Bijous, and I will be hell if I let this boy take my brother." "Aren't you going to say anything?" the Raikage asks. As Naruto was looking out of space, he then finally spoke. "Why should I talk? You know who I'm here for." The Raikage clenched his fists. "How cocky of you to come here thinking that I would just hand over my prisoner to you." "Your prisoner?" "Your prisoner?" Naruto said as he stepped forward. He then turned his gaze to one of the Susanos. The Raikage saw the Susanoo drive his sword straight down on several buildings, destroying them in one swoop. As the Raikage saw the rest of them targeting the rest of the village. As Naruto looked around, "You should know, the fox has a great sensory ability, and me being his Jinchuriki host give me such aspects as well. So I know that, to the west, 5 houses away from the cage tower, you have thousands of people underground in the bunker. I suggest you give me Menma, or I'll kill everyone here." The Raikage clenched his fists. As Naruto looked back up at one of his Susanoo, he drive his sword into the ground, destroying multiple buildings in the process. As the Raikage then thrust forward, "If I kill you with all of this will stop," he said, as he was trying to tear right through Naruto with one single move, as his entire body was encased in lightning. The ninjas behind him weren't fast enough to catch up with him, as he reached Naruto in an instant. But before he could strike Naruto, he was sent flying away, as he was thrust straight up in the air, as he was then sent slamming down into the ground with great force, as his body made an impact. As the Raikage struggling got up to his feet, as he spit out some blood, he then noticed a hand coming out of the ground, a fist, one of those things. "So he has a clone underground as well," the Raikage said, as he was sent knocked up in the air and then knocked back down by the Susanoo above them, and the wood vines keeping any of them from leaving the village. 3 of Naruto's Susanoo descended down to the ground towards the location of all the civilians, as they raised all of their blades over there. "Raikage," Naruto said, "I'm gonna count to 5. If you don't give me Menma, all of them will die." All of the ninjas clenched their teeth and clenched their fists, as many ninjas were behind Naruto, all of them a distance away surrounding him, ready to start their assault. But the Raikage knew once they fire an attack at him, he could just release all of those attacks, killing all of the civilians. And what would that village be without their civilians? What would that village be without their people? He wasn't about to let his people die. He quickly raised his hand as all of the ninjas who surrounded Naruto stopped. "And if I should give you the boy, what's stopping you from destroying my village?" As Naruto shook his head, "That's the thing. You don't know if I would destroy your village or not." "What?" said the Raikage. "So I should just give up my leverage and make you destroy my village? You were the one who started this. You came after my family. And in your group, you succeeded in killing one of them. By all standards, I should be killing you right now. But as you can see, I'm not even fighting. I just want Menma." So release him now, Naruto said. I'm not gonna ask again. As the Raikage noticed, the Susanos raised their hand higher in the air, ready to drive their swords straight into the ground. The Raikage knew if they dropped that, many people would die, as there was thousands, literally children, mother and all of that under there, and he couldn't allow that. Fine, he said. I want your word though, that you won't attack my village. As Naruto chuckled a bit, and why should I give that to you? I wasn't the one that killed your friend. It wasn't me. It was a kunoichi from the sand, the Raikage said, as he was sweating. As he looked over at the Susanos, knowing that they all hold him at a great disadvantage, as he realized the grave mistake he made. He should have got the people all out of the village. But he was too stupid enough to realize that Naruto wouldn't come in and surrender. This boy is a powerhouse, and he would use his power in some way to gain the advantage, and he just did. A kunoichi from the sand, huh? Then in that case, let Menma go and I'll leave, Naruto said. I will deal with the sand when I'm ready. As the Raikage clenched his teeth. How can I trust you, he said. That's the thing, don't trust anyone. Never do. This ninja world is full with lies and deceptions. If you trust people, you're a naive idiot. But I'm not gonna ask again. As Naruto stood there, the Raikage looked over. To his side was Samui, with Karu and Amoy, as the both of them were glaring at Naruto with so much anger. If looks could kill, Naruto would probably be dead by now, because he took Yujito from them, but the Raikage told all of them to be quiet, as he was the one who was discussing this. As he looked above him, they were all surrounding. If he decided to drop all of those swords on the village, everything would be leveled. As the Raikage was sweating, he then looked towards Samui. Go and retrieve the boy, he said. And I suggest you remove all of those chakra restriction seals you had over him. Whoever did it, let them remove it. Seeing that I cannot sense any of his chakra, I know that his chakra is being sealed away. I cannot do that, the Raikage said. And why can't you, Naruto said. Because that boy, it was his sister who got killed. He's gonna want more revenge than you. Even though I wasn't the one who killed her, he's gonna want you to do this assault on my village. And I can't allow that, the Raikage said. As the troops were all tensing, realizing that the Raikage was in a sticky situation. He didn't want to release B because he saw the amount of power waving over their head. With a simple flick of his wrist, Naruto could make all of his clones attack, killing many in the process, and the Raikage would be damned if he let that happen. Meanwhile, in another underground bunker, I should be out there fighting, said Killer B. You know you can't do that, B. Said a Jonin. The Raikage has given strict orders for you to stay here. The Akatsuki is above. He will handle it. You know that you're after what's inside of you. And if they obtain that, you will die. I am as much as part of this village as everyone else. I want to help, you know, you fool, B said. B-sama, please listen. It is too dangerous. B clenched his fist, as he just hoped that his brother was right what he's doing. As he had the power, he could bring the 8 tails on those fools. But his brother decided to keep him here, locked away like a goon. As he cursed. Wait, that was just some sick rhyme, he thought. Meanwhile, on top, Naruto saw Samui bringing someone out. As he saw that it was Menma, as he had seals on his arm. But Naruto couldn't see it. He had one on his chest as well, and one on his back, heavily suppressing his chakra, and making him very weak. Naruto stepped forward, not even looking at the Raikage, as he walked straight up to Samui. But he wasn't even looking at her. As Samui tried to reach for a kunai, I suggest you stop doing what you're doing, unless you want to die, said Naruto as he looked up. As Samui noticed a Susanoo above her head, with his sword, ready to drive down and kill her. She quickly moved her hand, as she released Menma. As Naruto closed his eyes and gathered some of the fox chakra, he placed his hand on Menma's shoulder, as Raikage and the others watched, as all of the seals on Menma started to burn away, as the fox chakra was going through his system, as Naruto was able to control and guide it right through him, seeing that it was such a small amount. As Menma, eyes snapped out of the daze. Naruto, he said, as he looked around. His eyes then spotted the Raikage, as Naruto felt heat leaking from Menma as the presence around him became very hot and tense. As the Raikage saw Menma's eyes as they were glaring dangerously. But Naruto whispered something into his ear. As Menma calmed himself, the Raikage stood there, unaware what is happening or what to do. As Naruto and Menma start to walk away, as the entire population of shinobis were slowly creeping behind them in case they do anything, as the Raikage noticed he hasn't moved any of his Susanoo yet, as the wooden wall went down back into the ground, as a Susanoo landed right in front of Naruto, as Menma stepped inside, as Naruto gave him a nod, as Menma nodded back, as the Susanoo flied off. "What are you doing?" the Raikage said. "You have him. You can leave now." As an angry scowl came on Naruto's face. "You stupid, ignorant bastard. I gave you a chance out. I told you to stop coming after me, but you didn't listen. You still came after me. You then made the grave mistake of creating that small alliance that ended up with Liz dead." "Now," Naruto said. The Raikage then heard explosions as Susanoo jumped off and drive their sword into the ground, destroying a huge portion of the earth, smashing through buildings, smashing through houses. "Attack," the Raikage said, as most of his forces went over to try and attack the Susanoo, but he watched as his forces were easily slaughtered out of the air, as the giant hands of the Susanoo and the sword tear right through them. The Raikage looked to one of his envoys. "Release him," he said, as the envoy nodded and vanished in a flash. The next thing Naruto knew, 8 tails exploded from the ground, a distance away from the civilians, but he quickly charged over there, as the Susanoos turned their attention to him. He used his 8 tails and thrust them forward, knocking away their blade, as he wrapped around their midsection and tried to throw them over his shoulder. But they grabbed onto him as well, and thrust him in the air. As all of them came down, a boom! As the people on the ground felt the shiver, as the stone was coming down on them, debris and all that, as they were screaming, fearing for their life. As the 8 tails got up, as he started to struggle to knock away the Susanoos, the Raikage then was about to jump into action when he felt a force hit his stomach with a boom. As his body was sent skyrocketing, he crashed into the outer wall, his body tearing right through it as he hit in a mountain that was on the coast of Kumo, very near to the village. Meanwhile, in the air, he had activated his lightning around him to make his body more dense so he didn't take so many damage, but he was still heavily wounded as he wondered what the hell just hit him. He was so focused on B, it was Naruto. As he looked up, the Raikage saw Naruto descended down upon him with his Susanoo. As Naruto landed, the Susanoo dispelled. As Naruto stood there, he had 2 swords on his back. He narrowed his eyes at the Raikage dangerously. The Raikage looked at Naruto. "If I kill you, all of this nonsense will stop," he said. "Then, try your best," Naruto said. The Raikage charged forward as he sent a super punch towards Naruto, but Naruto activated the ribcage of Susanoo, but the Raikage fist drive him back, sent him flying off the mountain. As Naruto speed through hand sign in mid-air, fire style. "Destructive wave," he said, as he sent a wave of fire towards the Raikage, but the Raikage teared through it like it was nothing. As he came upon Naruto to drive his fist right into the Susanoo, as he saw an opening right in the ribcage. But he never expected Naruto to materialize hand, as the hand grabbed him around the waist. The hand then thrust him down to the ground as he connected with a boom. Naruto came out of the air like a bullet as the ground exploded when he landed. The Raikage then was sent flying away as Naruto planted his leg right into his face. As Naruto had the momentum, Naruto appeared behind the Raikage as he drove his foot down, but the Raikage grabbed his ankle and thrust Naruto straight into the ground. As Naruto then slammed his hand on the ground, a wooden spike emerged and tear right in the Raikage's shoulder as he winced out in pain, but with his hulky figure, he was able to hold it as he drive his fist downwards, but Naruto already moved his head as the fist impacted with the ground, creating a boom. As Naruto then opened his mouth as a stream of flame was released. He already went through hand sign that slammed right in the Raikage's stomach, but his lightning shield helped him to not get so many damage, but he was still thrusting up in the air. He then saw the eight-tail sent flying over the village wall. As to the Raikage's surprise, all of the Susanos were on their feet. Not even B could beat all of them by himself, as many attacks rained down on the Susanos, trying to bring them down, but they were nothing, as Naruto Susanos went into an onslaught and started to tear the enemy force apart. As Raikage eyes wide in horror, if this continued on, his village would, but he didn't get to finish that sentence, as a hand of the Susanoo impacted right into him, as he could felt one of his ribs snap at that. It drive him straight down into the ground, as another fist came down, but the Raikage drive his fist upwards as well, as he put 100% behind that. As Naruto Susanoo's fist cracked, it was just the bone though, it wasn't the fully form of the manifest Susanoo. But the Raikage was then scooped out of the ground of another hand of the Susanoo, as it then turned him around and drive him downwards. As Naruto then jumped up in the air, he brought his sword down, but he quickly had to tilt his body as a glob of ink nearly blasted him as Naruto landed. "Eight tails," he said, as 5 Susanoo landed behind Naruto, as the 5 of them rushed forward with the wood clones controlling them, as the eight tails tried to fight them off as best as they could, but they knocked him back with a great force, as all 5 of them were surrounding him. Even though he was powerful, it was him alone, as B watched as his brother got pushed back. The eight tails had enough as he quickly built a Biju bomb. The Susanos jumped forward as each of them raised their hand in the air, as Naruto was going to use Minato's technique, the Rasengan that Minato teach him in that month gap in the Chunin exams, as all of the Susanos built a giant Rasengan, pouring a great amount of Naruto's chakra along with the Fox chakra, making it a tint red. As they combine it, as they kept on pouring more and more and more and more power, as the Raikage could see the power behind that attack. "B, run," he said, but the eight tail already launched its Biju bomb. As the Susanoo thrust their arm forward, sending a giant Rasengan that teared through the ground and rushed towards the Biju bomb. Both attacks collided, as, to the eight tail's surprise, the Rasengan was able to take over and consume it and thrust forward, and then boom! The entire mountain course was torn apart, leaving a giant crater, as it was big enough for at least 20 eight tails to fit inside of it. As in the center of all of that was a badly bruised and beaten eight tails, as smoke was coming all over from his body, as he was still in his eight tail form. He still hasn't resorted to his normal form yet. As inside, B was huffing and puffing. "B, are you okay?" said the eight tails. "We do share the same pain. You have to go in and rest," B said. "I'll handle it from now. Are you crazy? You can't handle this guy. He's on a total different level. That power of his, I've never seen something like that since back then." As the eight tail remembered when he was captured by Hoshirama Senju, and there was also another dangerous power next to him. That was Madara Uchiha, but this kid, it seemed like he was still holding back. And he also had Kurama inside of him, making him even more dangerous. As the Raikage looked over as his brother was still in the eight tail form that was steaming, but he knew he was down for the count. As the Raikage heard more screaming, as he then heard an explosion, he turned back to his village, as he saw his village was being torn through, as the ninjas were quickly falling back because they couldn't fight off so many forces. As Naruto then held his hand, and all of the fighting and all of the chaos stopped. As Raikage was confused, but then a hand tear right through the ground, as the hand grabbed the Raikage, holding him tight as it was a grip of Susanoo. The Raikage charged up to 100% trying to break it, but chakra, red taint, mixed into Susanoo's hand, as it was holding on to him very tight so he couldn't escape, as a Susanoo came from the ground with a wood clone inside of it. When the Raikage turned back around, a feet was planted into his face, as he was sent flying so far, his body break through a couple boulders and walls as he crashed into a mountainside, as that knocked him dazed. He could hear his ears ringing, as he felt so many force behind that attack, as his nose and his ears were bleeding. As he coughed up some blood, that the attack really knocked a lot out of him. As Naruto appeared in front of the massive hole that he drove the Raikage in, as Naruto's leg was infused with so much of the Kyuubi's chakra that he just slammed into the Raikage's face, as that was enough to knock the wind right out of him. Naruto then speed through hand sign. Fire style, fire stream, he said, as he released a dose of fire straight into the hole. The Raikage quickly consumed his body into lightning, but the fire was faster as it burned part of his body, but he exploded out of the rubble. As he then felt a hand grabbed him. It was another Susanoo, but this one was coming from Naruto, as it drove him straight down into the ground. The Raikage snapped down to the ground as he felt some of his bones broken by that. Naruto landed on his chest with a boom. As when he opened back his eyes, Naruto's sword was right in his face. The Raikage was at a stun. He was a Kage level shinobi, but still, this boy was able to subdue him like that. The powers of those eyes. As Naruto then drive his blade down, but to the Raikage's surprise, he felt his arm in intense pain as he looked to see his right arm gone, as he cried out in pain and agony. As Naruto then backed away from him, as the Raikage tried to get to his knee, but Naruto slammed his knee right into the Raikage's nose, knocking him back down to the ground. As Naruto then went through hand sign, wood style, woodbine, he said as he slammed his hand on the ground. As woodbine break from the ground, wrapping around the Raikage, trapping him in one spot. As Naruto then jumped away to the Raikage's surprise. As Naruto appeared above the 8 tails, which was too weak to do anything, it tried to send one of his tails towards Naruto, but Naruto went through hand sign as a wooden spike break from the ground, tearing right through the tail, stopping it. As Naruto arrived at his head, Naruto then went through a few hand signs as he placed his hand on the 8 tails head. As the 8 tails tried to bite Naruto, tearing to pieces with his teeth, but he felt himself being pushed back into the seal. What the hell? B! B! He shouted, but his consciousness was being pushed away. Next thing 8 tails know, he was pushed back into the seal, as he was cut off momentarily towards his partner. As B body was shown, the 8 tails was sucked right back into him. Before B could say anything, Naruto drive B's head into the ground with an iconic slam, knocking him out cold. As Naruto was pissed off, he was in rage. He wanted to vent out his anger and all of his rage right here. Ever since Liz died, he's been feeling a rage that he never felt before. Even all the pain at Konoha couldn't subside for this. He had family, he had people who cared about him, 2 of them, and 1 of them were taken away from him, just because of him. As Naruto turned towards the Raikage, he then created a wood clone. As the wood clone picked up B and threw him over his shoulder. As Naruto turned towards the Raikage, "I have destroyed your pride," Naruto said as he stepped forward. As the Raikage, who was missing an arm, stood there. Naruto then sensed most of his shinobis coming towards them. "I have taken what you precious the most, your precious tailed beast, your power. I have shown you that your village is nothing, but I am not done yet, because I will return. I will show you that there is more that I can take. For all your mistreatment and everything that you have done, for what you have done to Liz, what your combined force has caused, I will never let this slide. You, Raikage, you made the biggest mistake of your life, and I will come back and haunt you. Like a devil in the night, you won't know when I'm coming. I will make you feel fear. I will make you feel pain that you would never imagine," Naruto said. As Raikage looked at his boy, as Naruto Mangita Sharingan glared at him dangerously, the Raikage couldn't help but feel it. He felt fear. He was scared. He wanted to run, but he couldn't. His entire body felt numb and weak. And also, Naruto had hold him in his wood bind, as he couldn't break out of it. It was too strong. As the Raikage watched as Naruto slowly walked away with his wood clone, he looked towards his village to see his village smoking. Great portion of his village destroyed, most of his shinobis, and some of his civilians dead. As Darui and C rushed over there, as C quickly saw the Raikage's hand, as he quickly started medical aid, but by that time Naruto was gone. As Naruto met up with Menma a distance away, "Did you listen to me and not destroy it?" Menma asked. "Yes," said Naruto. "I did not destroy the village. You will have your revenge as well. You will get to make them feel pain as well and suffering beyond them belief. But don't worry, soon I will ascend beyond this human level, and when I gain the power of a god, I will bring her back. Death will not be the end, Menma. I promise you, you will see Liz again. Her death will not go like this. Now let's go. As the both of them headed off. A week passed. News quickly spread about what happened at Kumo. Obito was beyond surprised. Not only was Naruto able to dismantle Kumo, he was able to take the 8 tails, bringing them one step closer toward their goal. As he wondered just truly how powerful Naruto is. As he wondered if Naruto was on Madara's level. As thoughts started to come to his mind after witnessing that, as he went and saw the state of Kumo. The place was in ruins, most of the buildings destroyed, most shinobi dead. The Raikage was also embarrassed. One boy strolled into his village, was able to do that. He was also missing an arm. That was a stamp from Naruto to remember him. As Tobi was thinking, what if Naruto doesn't want to give the 9 tails, as he was currently inside of a secret underground base. Naruto handed over the 8 tails rather easily, but he hasn't been there since to seal away any of the tail beasts. He told them that they had enough, they can do it on their own. And Tobi just had to watch him, as he knew that Naruto is incredibly powerful, as he never witnessed Naruto's true power. And from what he saw wood binds there, and also wood constructs. That means Naruto lied to him when he said that he couldn't perform wood style greatly. But from what he saw, he performed them well. As his mind was running on different thoughts, as he wondered what would happen if he doesn't want to give up the 9 tails inside of him. What if he should run different on their plans? What if he chose another path? Would they be enough to take him down? Would the Akatsuki be enough, he wondered. He then shook his head. As long as he had pain, even though Naruto had the eternal monkey, the Sharingan, and even though he has the Susanoo, pain should still be enough. He should still be able to take down Naruto, and with the might of the Akatsuki, they should be more than enough to crush him. But for now, he will just have to keep a keen eye on Naruto, because he knows that Naruto doesn't care about anyone else, except for Menma and Liz. So he will just have to watch him and make sure that everything is good, because the time is coming when they will want the 9 tails. And that will be the day that decides it all. As Tobi then got up as he disappeared in a swirling vortex. Tobi arrived at the hidden rain. As he entered, to him, Pain knew him as Madara. Madara, said Pain, have you talking to the boy? I am starting to have doubts. Doubts? And why is that? Madara asks. The boy has shown that he's powerful. Greatly that is. I think that power will go to his head. When the time comes, I don't believe he will hand over the 9 tails. As Madara didn't say anything. Oh, so you believe that as well? Said Nagato, as he sit in his construction, as Konan wasn't there. I believe that he's arrogant and he's getting more powerful. And he is strong. But you should be able to handle him if any of that happened. I don't believe so, said Nagato, as Madara was shocked. To Nagato, who always called himself a god, he didn't understand. One of my paths went to Kumo. They were watching the entire fight. And from what I witnessed, the boy has incredible power. And he's able to use the Susanoo on a wide scale. He's able to produce wood clones to use multiple of them. The battle will be long and hard, and it will take a lot. If only I had my real body. If only I was able to match him as my real self. As Madara narrowed his eyes under his mask. I think we might have a way. Huh? What do you mean? Asked Nagato. I think there is a way for us to get you back in your real body. For you to access the full power of the Rinnegan. And just in case he ever betrayed us, you will be able to take him out then, wouldn't you? I don't understand, said Nagato. I thought I was alone in this suspicion. Weren't you the one that trained him? Yes, I was. But he's getting powerful by the day. He's not even listening to me anymore. I think things are going to change rather quickly. How exactly are we going to get me walking again? Asked Nagato. Meanwhile, at the hidden stand, they were currently having a meeting. How is this even possible, said Lady Chiyo. How is one boy able to do something like that? Before anyone could respond, someone came into the room. It was a messenger. Kazekage-sama, we have got a letter from Kumo. Huh? Temari said, confused. From Kumo? Yes, the messenger said. Hand it over, Temari said. As she took the letter, as she read it, her eyes went wide. Meanwhile, at Konoha, the group was currently having a council meeting. As Kushina, Minato, Jiraiya, and Tsunade were there. As Minato still haven't forgotten about what Tsunade did. He intended to punish her, but for now, she is needed in this. How is this even possible, Danzo said. How strong is a boy actually? How could one boy enter Kumo and dismantle all the forces and even able to bring down the Raikage? He's a Kage for Christ's sake, Danzo said. As even he couldn't understand, even though this boy possessed the Sharingan, how could he wield such power? As Minato spoke, I am afraid Naruto is far more powerful than I thought. He has shown us that in his recent activities. He is able to attack Kumo and come out, not even damaged badly. We need to take better stances. You mean like sending out a kill list against him, said Tsunade, not more of this crap about hunting him down. You know that soon he will come back here. You see the power that he wields, Minato. Even if you're his father, you know that he's too late, but she was cut off. As Anvu entered, as he kneeled right in front of Minato. Message from Kumo, he said. As Minato took it curiously, as he opened it. What? He said. Meanwhile, at Kiri, Mei, Terumi, and A were in the office, along with Kojiro. It seems like things are really heating up. This boy, from Konoha, he's calling himself Naruto Uchiha now, has single-handedly attacked Kumo and wiped out great portion of his forces and even disabled the Raikage. One boy? Uchihas are always fine and always talented, Mei said. But for him to be able to wipe out Kumo, is he really that strong, she thought. As a messenger then appeared in the room, Mizukage-sama. As he gave her a letter, she opened it as her eyes went wide. What is it, Mizukage? Asked Kojiro. It seems like things are really starting up now, she said. Meanwhile, at the Stone Village, as Oniki was currently in his office, did you heard, old man? About this Naruto boy, said Kurasuke. He was able to single-handedly take out Kumo. He brought the village to his needs, even the Raikage, he was able to take his arm as victory over the village. And they say that he's not done there. It seems that this boy has a great hatred for Konoha and everything. Lucky we didn't mess with him, huh? Said Kurasuke. As Oniki clenched his fist. This is a spawn of Minato. Looks like he must be suffering right now, knowing that his spawn is doing this. Suddenly, Anvu appeared. What is it? Oniki said. Message from Kumo, Tsuchikage-sama. Kumo? As he took the letter, as his eyes narrowed. What is it, Grandpa? Asked Kurasuke. Meanwhile, all of that was going on. Naruto was in the hideout, as Menma was sleeping. Menma has been pushing himself to increase his power over the past week. He has been non-stop training. As Naruto understands that he's angry and wants to make all of them pay, but he's pushing himself too hard. As Naruto suddenly collapsed on the ground, as he doesn't know what it is. As he got back up to his knees. Ever since that battle in Kumo, ever since he faced off against Orochimaru, he felt it. His eyes, they're hurting really bad. As he couldn't understand, he had the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. As Naruto walked over to Amuro, his body has been feeling tired and weak lately, like something is changing inside of him. He recently collapsed and Menma asked him what is going on and rushed to his side, but not even him knew. When Naruto arrived at the mirror, he saw his eyes as they shift into the Mangekyo Sharingan by themselves, surprising him as they were starting to change, but then they returned back to normal. As the pain then vanished. As he wondered what the hell is going on, his eyes returned back to normal. He shook his head. As he wondered if this was a side effect of his ability or something else. No, this can't be. He has been using his ability. He has the ability to freeze time for 5 seconds, 2 times for each day. That is why he got out of some of those sticky, very sticky situations, as he was blessed with a great ability. When he does it, the entire world around him freeze. It was like his body was moving at such a pace that everything just froze. And he's able to get behind his victims and slaughter them rather quickly. If he was granted this power unlimitedly, he could have just killed everybody in his way, but he could only do it 2 times a day. As Naruto splashed water on his face, as he shook his head, as he then heard a knock at the door, as Menma stepped inside. "You're awake," said Naruto. As Menma nodded, "It's time," said Menma. "Yeah, I know." "Are you sure you're ready for this?" Naruto said. "You, show them your power in Kumo. It's my turn to make them pay in the sand." As Menma picked up his Akatsuki cloak and put it on, as Naruto had on his. "When are we going to stop all of this nonsense?" "Time is coming, you know," Menma said. "I know," said Naruto, "but we need to buy a little more time. Just wait for the right opportunity until it's my turn, and then we will show our true motives." But guys, me end this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. Remember to share to all of your friends on your social media platform. But for now guys, I'm out of here. Peace.